Okay, today I'm reviewing Thor, Son of Asgard #1. I think I should probably start by mentioning that I don't really like Thor that much. He's good in the movies, I think, but in comics, he's kind of a stuck up jerk. It's kind of what I think most of the time whenever I read him. But because of that, I haven't really read a whole lot of Thor comics. This was okay. It started out kind of like a fable. It felt more or less like a fable, and the Disney-esque art style kind of adds to that. I did like the art style a lot. I think it works well for this style of comic. It makes it feel kind of fable-esque, which I think is what they're going for. Being that this takes place a long time before anything else in the Marvel universe, basically, when Thor's still a young kid. In the movies, he mentions he's like 1,500 years old. I don't know if that's the same in the comics or not, but so this is a very long time ago. Before even Captain America existed. Before even Wolverine was born. And for the most part, this kind of made me think of like the beginning campaign adventure in like a Dungeons and Dragons thing, because like the three warriors meet. Loki attacks them with spiders, um, as like the beginning thing. They kill them all easily because it's just spiders. I mean, really big spiders, but yeah, they're just like grab weapons. Okay, they're dead. Yeah. Just like the first encounter in a D&D campaign. Then they meet with Thor's dad, Odin, and Thor, and he gives them a quest to find 4 elements in order for him to do something mysterious. And yeah, it just felt like, the first quest you'd get in a D&D campaign. Like, oh, okay, now we gotta do this thing. And that's it, that's the whole plot. So because of that, I guess there's not a whole lot to review. Um, Outside of me just mentioning again, I don't really like Thor. Part of the reason is how he treats Loki in the comics, because Loki's always been kind of it's because of the Greco-Roman mythos about Loki and um, Thor. I mean, Loki's always been the trickster, kind of a villain, but they're still brothers, but in the comics, because like Thor is like, I'm the good guy, and Loki's like, I'm evil. It's all, there's never been like any of that brotherly dynamic that we really see in the movies, at least from what I've read. Again, I haven't read that many Thor comics. I'm sure it gets more complex as the story goes on, but here it just feels like Thor just does everything his father asks without question. He's kind of really self-centered and just really wants to be able to wield Mjolnir. The first part of the comic, he's just trying to pick up Mjolnir and he can't. And then they all kind of make fun of Loki, and that's when he decides, like, oh, I'll show them, and turns spiders, makes spiders big, and attacks them with them. And I guess I've always kind of liked Loki more because of that, just in that, like, in their dynamic, he's a lot more complex and interesting than Thor ever is. And that's still true in the movies, and I'm glad they decided to keep him around, even though he keeps dying. And just like, actually, maybe Loki didn't die, or maybe we can bring him back in a different way and stuff like that. Because he is a very complex character. Here I mean, like it's still, I mean, they're the ones making fun of him behind his back, and he's the one who's like, well, I'll do this then, but he's still conniving and mischievous. But that's Loki, right? The god of mischief. I would say this story was just kind of mediocre, though. And I know it's just the beginning episode, so to speak. And it's just setting up for, like, oh, there's important things coming, or, like, good things are happening. But it still just feels to me like a D&D campaign. And if it continues as that way, there probably won't be a whole lot of depth to this. I mean, there's not a whole lot of depth to Thor as a character, and that's yet another reason why I've never really liked him that much. He's good in the movies. I think I should mention that, but like he's much more human in the movies, and him and Loki like have a much more brotherly relationship. You actually feel that even though Loki can be kind of evil sometimes, Thor still loves him. And that's something I don't know if we ever get from the comics. I mean, I hope so. I hope there's more complexities to him, but if there are, that's not really shown here. And the story of this one was mediocre at best. It wasn't bad at any points, but it was just didn't really do anything to make me go like, oh, I really want to see this adventure coming up. Like if I had just bought this comic as a single issue in the comic shop, I wouldn't buy any more just from this issue. I mean, it was okay. I like the art style a lot, but that was probably the best part. As the comic that kind of sort of starts the Marvel Universe in the comics, this was pretty lackluster. Hopefully it gets better. As a rating, I guess I'll give it let's just give it a 5 out of 10. Right in the middle, because it was pretty lackluster. The artwork was pretty good, but it's not up to raise it any, I don't think. And if you want to see me review anything specifically, just suggest in the comics. I will review basically anything. Books, comics, TV shows, backs of cereal boxes. I'll review basically anything. All right.